first call of the day canceled, so I've had some time to play catch up, which is great, and I've got 15 minutes before my first real call of the day. So I'm gonna eat some food, but first things first, gotta do the spinach ball. Oh, so just a little fun fact about me. I actually don't like cooked spinach. I prefer the raw spinach over anything cooked. So get the veggies in early in the day. That makes it super easy. I don't have to think about it, and I don't have to eat slimy spinach. I think the first couple of times that you do the spinach ball, maybe it's a little bit gross, but after you do it a few times, it's really not that bad. Look at that. If you haven't tried microwaving eggs, give it a shot. This is unreal.
Okay, today's workout was back day. So you can see right off the bat getting into some deadlifts. Starting out from my deadlifts, usually what I do is a lot of mobility stuff. I'm doing these things called hip airplanes for a while now to warm up my injured hip, and it just feels really good. I do them before squats too. Open up the hips, do some back extensions, and then I usually start with just the bar, and usually they end up being somewhat like RDLs that I do with just the bar before I even do my first set of deadlifts. So warmed up with 135. My first working set was 225 for 5. Then I went to 250 for 5. And then my final set was 285 for 5, which felt really good. Looking at my calendar here, my perceived 1 rep max for deadlift was 325. Because I hit all my lifts in the last 5-3-1 cycle, I'm moving that up to 335. So that's the base number that all of my percentages are being used off of. Now, I am a hook grip guy, and for that, I definitely need chalk. I'm also a big chalk guy, so chalked up for this lift. If I have chalk and I'm doing the hook grip, there's no way the bar is ever coming out of my hands. But if I don't use chalk and do hook grip, my hands just get so sweaty that I find that it starts to slip out, and I'm just not a big fan of the mixed grip, mainly just because I want to try to stay as even as possible, but I also know that it can be a little bit dangerous getting into heavier weight with the potential of getting a bicep tear. So double overhand feels the safest to me with the hook grip, and I'm pretty happy just looking at my arms nice and straight. I never really feel like I'm trying to pull the bar with my arms, so I'm going to stick with that. Now, for pull-ups, I was a bit bummed because I had several sets before this that for some reason with the camera, I accidentally set it to burst photo instead of recording a video. So didn't get my first 5 sets, but this is my 6th set of pull-ups. The first 3, I had 10 pounds around my waist, and then the final 3 were just body weight. Next exercise, getting into it, you can see doing my pain face as I'm picking up the handle. These rows, I think I need to work on my form a little bit. You can actually see the guy in the background of this video. I was watching him doing rows, and his form looked perfect. So I'm going to try to emulate him a little bit, but I don't like how much I'm hitching on these. I don't want to be using that momentum. So moving forward, what I'm going to do is drop the weight a little bit. I'm doing 140 pounds here. Drop the weight and try to keep in this front position where you can see my lats are being stretched out, and then pull it into that position without hitching back. Now, the last exercise that I did for my back day was these, I call them pullovers. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but I've seen people doing these in the past, and I think they're a really good finisher for my back day. They really blow up my lats. I really feel the stretch at the end of it, and I feel the squeeze when I pull back. So love doing these. I was doing 70 pounds, and I wasn't really keeping track of the reps, although I think it was like 10 to 15. I was mainly just doing it until my back started to feel pumped and like I was getting a good workout in. But what's really funny here is you'll see there's that guy who's on the cable row machine whose form I was admiring, and I could tell that he was watching me do my sets, and I was sort of watching him in the gym as well. Because honestly, the dude is yoked and super strong. And as I'm getting to my last couple of reps here, this was my last set. I was feeling ready to go home, and I sort of gave up a little bit earlier than I probably should have. I should have just kept going and finished out my final set. And you can see he jumps in here. He goes, "Hey, bro, three more. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I got back on. He was psyched, and I went for three more. And honestly, they were easy reps. I was just finishing early for no reason. And so it was good to have somebody around to push me. It's kind of a weird gym. You know, some of the guys are a lot more serious, but no one really talks. And it felt good to get that final little push from somebody.
Sick back workout. Wow. Felt really strong today. Felt really good. It is Friday, so man, the weekend is here. I'm so happy to have a couple of days off work. Things have been super hectic. I had a meeting with my team lead today where maybe the first 5 minutes was sort of just a vent sesh where I was like, dude, I feel like a chicken with its head cut off. I feel like I'm just running around. I don't know if there's things that I'm missing. I think things are working. I just don't want people to slip through the cracks. And he was somewhat empathetic to my situation, but he's been working OT every single day for quite some time now. So I think he was sort of like, hey, you're preaching to the choir, buddy. So I worked a little bit of OT today. I finally put in a request instead of just working past the end of the day. The problem is, like, putting in an OT request is a pain in the ass, and there are stipulations around it where they want you to do it before you actually start your OT, but it's hard to know you're gonna work OT until you get to the end of the day and you're like, holy shit, I have so much left to do. And that's kind of what happened today. You know, 3 o'clock came around and I was in a meeting with my team lead discussing things that were broken, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna have to put this in, and you know, that was my first OT request, and it was not according to spec, but that's all right. Long story short, happy that it's the weekend. I need some time to relax. I've got like 3 days worth of footage that I need to go back through and actually make videos for. I'm super behind, and I would love to just get caught up this weekend and put those out there. Even if nobody watches them, like, I want to do something with that footage. But the main reason I want to get caught up is because I'm going sailing this weekend. I'm literally learning how to sail Saturday and Sunday with my dad. And so I want to be able to do that, go home, throw the video together and put it out and feel psyched, and not like I have to go and put together all these other videos for no reason. So feeling psyched about that. Super stoked that it's the weekend. Workout week is going well. One more workout this week. That's going to be tomorrow, Saturday, and that is going to be my 5-mile run and a bench press day. So we'll get that in. That'll be post sailing class, but good week.